Good afternoon, good evening to all of our wonderful and beautiful little lovelies out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. And I hope that wherever you are in the world, that life is treating you all beautifully, okay? Now, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it is 8 minutes past 12 on the 27th of August 2026. And if it's raining, and it's like thunder, lightning. So, yesterday evening, my delicious babies, yes, we were experiencing the thunder and lightning, and it has peed down all night, and it has peed down all day so far. Okay, I never worried too much. I got caught out in the rain, but I'm not worried about it. I mean, it feels as though, like when they give us some sunshine, it feels as though they're giving us that, but then it sort of hammers down. Do you know what I mean? Mads, Lish baby's just an old fashioned saying, meaning that then they decide to give us so many doses of rainwater, Mads, Lish babies. Do you see what I mean? Yes. Anyway, so it's really hard to take a proper, um, little video of it, really, okay? But I'll tell you what happened. So I was making some custard yesterday evening, my delicious babies, and anyway, and I had like the kitchen window a bit open, and the lightning flipping actually came right in. My delicious babies, I tell you what, it was scary. Okay, I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot that can really bother myself, but lightning, it really does. And the reason why I talked about this many years ago, my delicious babies, is because if you was to say quack quack go, duck duck go eat, and you typed in, um, uh, you know, um, I don't know, for an example, men or women who have been struck by lightning, yeah, it flipping knocks them straight to the ground now to the babies, you know what I mean? And it can be very serious. But what they end up with, it looks like they end up with a couple of weeks of psychic abilities. But for most of them, it could be their arms, could be their legs, could be on their body. They end up with, the only way to explain it, it looks like a tree, like in the shape of a tree. It's really hard for me to explain. You'd need to see it yourself, Martinish babies, and these are cases that have really happened. Okay, Martinish babies in our old England, and you'll probably find there'll be other places as well. But I take it very seriously. But no, flipping came like this, right in. That's the only one thing that it really bothers me. Okay, so I'm not a lover of, I mean, when you see it, it's quite magnificent in the sky to watch. This one was like, it was like a pinky colour last night. It was going like this. You know what I mean? I'm sounding like a flipping young bear, aren't I, the way I explain things, But on a serious note, no. I pulled the flipping window right too. Do you know what I mean? I thought, you're not getting me. Because I have this thing in my noddle, man, to just babies, and no, I'm not mentally impaired. And, bless anybody who has, mental health issues. I do not mean it that way. But what it is, man, to the babies, like where it chases you. And sometimes I felt, there we are, genuinely like it has. You know what I mean? You've got to be ever so careful, like it'll just pinpoint certain windows and things like this. And I'm a firm believer in it, my delicious babies, nevertheless. I never ever want to get caught out in thunder and lightning, okay? But let me tell you, it was really rocking upstairs in the sky yesterday evening. Let me tell you, the flipping sound of it was, it's like some massive flipping giant, like this. You know what I mean? Mad delicious babies anyway. Not to worry. So I put up a little video yesterday, mad delicious babies, and it's beautiful little baby, beautiful little family upstairs. Anyway, and he had this new appears to be a toy, which it does have to be sent back to Amazon. Okay, mad delicious babies, because it's supposed to have string. And what this string is supposed to do, I presume it's with the glove of the, which of course was straps. Where do we see the straps, my delicious babies? It's really quite odd, isn't it? You don't really see the strap. It's changed, hasn't it, my delicious? But I know what I'm talking about anyway. Um, but the point is, I'm pretty sure you'll get where I'm coming from. But it's meant to have strings, so you're meant to be able to do that, and then you bring something back. That's what how the little Ben, bless him, not in that way, not in that way, was explaining it to myself. Yes, but even as a toy, and that's the point I'm making, Martinish babies, when I'm speaking to you now. It's just, and it's like this kind of this piece of plastic, and then you got this bit on the end where you got to throw it, and it's meant to stick. You know what I mean? So, like with the machine, I mean, sorry, and then it goes ping like that. So, I was doing a little dance yesterday, in the garden, Martinish babies, because I managed to do it twice, to get it to stick to the slide. You know what I mean? So I was super duper happy. Then we played just a tiny bit, of football. You know what I mean? So he said, this is your goal. He said, and that is my goal. I said, okay then, okay. So I had my flip flops on, and I thought, right, okay. I thought, can I do a trick? You know what I mean? Mad delicious babies. But of course, I was dancing again, because boom, straight in the flipping goal. Do you know what I mean? Mad delicious babies, and that's with a pair of flip flops. Anyway, mad delicious babies. So yes, but when you look at what I was saying about the item, you're going to get where I'm coming from. Okay, let's just say that. If you was to go up to, well, you could go to many places actually, Brumyland, which I cannot stand going to that town centre. Decades ago, it used to be a wonderful and marvellous and beautiful place to go, but not anymore, okay? I don't care how shiny and everything look, you know what I mean? It's certainly not the same as what it used to be. But, you'll probably find, these, needle, they sort of look like this, you know what I mean? Martin babies, and you'll find them in many places. Okay, you go to our local centre up the road, and it's the same thing. You're going to come across them. And then when I was looking at this toy, it sort of reminded me. It's really hard to explain, but it sort of reminded me. So it's like when you look at the little toys. Initially, you think, oh, you wouldn't really think much of it. It's like what did I see it on now? I think it was on Sean Atwood's on YouTube. He's now up to 1.13 million subscribers. Mardelistic Babies, capital S, capital space, capital A, Sean Atwood, Shaun. Okay, that I've just spelt it. Okay, so I haven't spelt it for because you can spell it a different way, can't you? Sean could be, spelt as seen. You know what I mean? Sean. Anyway, and I think one of he was Ron, Ron. He was talking to one of his guests when they're showing the Care Bears. Now I remember the Care Bears very well. You know what I mean? Mad's little babies, yes. I mean, even my daughters had little babies. Bless they had little Care Bears. You know what I mean? And you see, this is what I'm saying. It looks all innocent, but it's very let's just say it's very putrid behind it. Do you know what I'm saying, Mads? But you wouldn't normally see it, is what I'm saying. It's only over years, and then you spare a thought. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, lots of different toys, and then you just take a look and you think, do you sort of understand? Of course, I would never say that to the little baby. He was just glad to have his little toy. You know what I mean? But of course, it's got to go back to Amazon, if it's meant to have the string and it hasn't got the string. So therefore, you pay for an item that you haven't got all of it there, have you? Okay. Anyway, that's the point I was making. I know exactly what I was talking about now, delicious babies. Yeah, and then you had Max. Well, I've never seen that. It was well and truly ingrained, really, somebody had engraved it well in. Max, Max. I've never seen that before. Not in all the years. Mind you, I suppose, in all honesty, I haven't really paid that much attention, because you're just looking, there's my garden and there's my beautiful, bless them, not in that way, not in that way, there's their garden, do you see what I mean? So I was just a bit taken aback when I seen it, Max. Anyway, my delicious babies. So these are the two videos. So the first one, they're both on YouTube. With anybody not in that way, okay? 2.53 thousand subscribers. The uploader is called capital C Craig, then space capital H Houston, and then a space, and it's a number 2, so it's not 2 as in TWO. It is the number 2. Okay, Marzlichtig babies. And this video is it just over 3 minutes long, and this is to do with the Glasgow Marzlichtig babies. Okay, and what your man here is talking about is the fact that they're offering, the council tenants, they're being offered, to sort of downsize. So basically, council, they want the 3-bedroom houses. Well, this has been going on over here, Marzlichtig babies. There we are for quite a long time now in our Brummyland. Okay, and this is the reason why I'm mentioning it. Okay, what your man here is doing is he's just pointing things out. Okay, he's reading it out to you. He's showing you, on the screen. And what he's saying is that, but the fact is, who are these going to? Now, getting back to Brummyland, so they're doing the same. They're doing the same with housing associations. It's the same drill. Okay, Marzlichtig babies is a good old-fashioned saying. And of course, for some, they do not want to leave. They're happy with the house that they've got. Okay, but others are not wanting them to be happy with the house that they've got. And what your man here is talking about in this video is that, they're offering them this and they're offering them that. And like, say if somebody's in arrears or something, they're saying, well, what? Do you understand what I'm saying? So they're trying to do everything, to get them to, give up their council properties, Marzlichtig babies, which of course, come on, everybody must know by now, especially in our old England, as well as other countries, bless, who listen to, to do with our old England. Well, of course, as anybody would know, Marzlichtig babies, the fact of the matter is that they're banging out these HMOs like nobody's business, okay? And, of course, they're also getting a lot of ka-ching, 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 ka-ching per room, Marzlichtig babies. Now then, you do have some places where you have the, what do they call them? I forgot what you flipping call them now. I'm sorry, Marzlichtig babies. What do they call them? Where they go in. So they go in, and what they do is they go and check the place, and, so you've got to make sure that you keep the place tidy, you keep your room tidy, that, I should assume the kitchen, the bathroom, that all of that is tidy, Marzlichtig babies can. And they probably, go and do an inspection twice a week. Of course, from what I gather, only from what I gather now to the babies, let's just say some places will be seen regularly to go and make checkups and others not. I mean, I'm just wondering, does it go by area code or something? I'm just not sure, Marzlichtig babies. I have not looked into it enough. But from what I was told, there's usually in some places twice weekly inspection. But then in other places, that is not so. You know what I mean? You'd have to, politely speaking, you'd have to wipe your feet on the way out. You know what I mean, Marzlichtig babies, okay? Your feet will certainly be a lot cleaner stood outside the front door, do you know what I'm saying? Yes. But this is big business. So, of course, for a lot of these places could be turned into these HMOs. You see what I mean? See, there we are. You can see what the crack is. They're especially doing it over here with the larger houses, like the old-fashioned houses, these, real larger, older-fashioned houses. Yeah, they're trying to get the flipping mitts onto as many as they can. And they usually house something like that, I'd probably say 3 or 4 probably in the house, do you know what I mean? Because they're larger, do you know what I mean? Marzlichtig babies. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention it, but this will be a one-off video, okay? But this is just to let ones know, if for yourselves, anybody who happens to kindly swing past my video, if it's for yourself or somebody who please do not give it up. You're just giving in to these, you know what I mean? Anybody who does it, they're just giving in to them. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes? But really what they're offering, to pay off a few arrears, or I don't know. Could be anything. Could be new cupboards. Could be anything, or they're going to do something somewhere else where you go. It's like bribery, isn't it? But at the same time, that's a little. I feel little and small price to pay. For them moving somewhere and then wishing that you'd stayed where you was. Do you see what I'm saying? Can you see how this all rocks and rolls, my little babies? Yes. So yeah, I do my best to keep up with it, but I haven't looked enough into. I should really look more into these HMOs. I really should. You know what I mean, my little babies. But we've got lots of them. There was even talk about ones on our road. My little babies in my South Road. Yeah. I mean, have they asked permission to have HMOs? You see, they're putting them everywhere, Martelish baby. This is not just, as well in cities and they're putting them in other places as well. It's like, how can I put it? It's like there's no escaping. I'm not saying that everybody in a HMO, I'm not going to say that. For some blessed dear little souls, not in that way, not in that way. They have found themselves in a sticky situation or whatever, and they need somewhere to live. And, they could be the most tidiest and cleanest that you can have, but not all of them rock and roll like that. They do not. And when you've got a number in a house, it's usually a bloody tatty, bloody damn well mess out the front and everything. You know what I mean? If you're going to keep your rooms clean and tidy, then keep them damn well clean and tidy. And outside the front door and everything, the back door and, the gardens, at least keep them damn well tidy. Do you know what I mean? But we're not seeing this. I'm not going to say with all, like I just said. And this is big flipping business, ka-ching. Please believe me when I'm saying, there we are. Please believe me when I'm saying it. Big business. And for most in different roads, they're not asked about this. There's so much sneaky, lower than the snake's belly, and you cannot get lower than that. Underhand business. Devious, man, devious. That goes on. They're so flipping sneaky, man. Okay? I've seen many changes on our road, let me tell you. Certainly never used to be the way it is. Used to be, sorry, no. I rightfully stumbled there. Please do not get me wrong, for most, I get along with, because I'm out walking with beautiful little Ruby Tuesday, beautiful little Maisie Moose, she wants to come, and Auntie Colin's beautiful little chin, and so when I'm out and about, I'll talk to most, if I happen to see them, I'll always say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but, it's like there's so many changes, okay? And you got to the point where, not being rude or disrespectful, but you're not knowing who's who. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Marslish babies kind. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other roads and areas. There we are, Marslish babies, who are also going through this. Okay, so the final video. Okay, very sadly. But I'm not saying about the ones who like to live clean and tidy. I'm not saying that. They found themselves in a situation and they're trying to, clearly, do their bit of time there, not in that way, not in that way, do a bit of time there, till they can get a different accommodation. Do you know what I mean? But there's others who, there we are, do not know how to look after properties. They do not know. And to be quite honest, they do not want to either. Okay? Now, there's another one here. Sorry, I got three, I forgot. I'm sorry. This one here happens to have 42.3 thousand subscribers. I'm pleased that the numbers have really gone up, I think I advertised, so it's capital Y, Yorkshire, space, capital R, Rose, Yorkshire, space, Rose. That's the upload of my delicious little babies again on YouTube. Yeah, her numbers have gone up. I'm really pleased by that. I think I advertised, that doesn't mean that. I think I advertised a very long time ago now. Okay, when I advertised Yorkshire Rose, and she goes round and, investigating. Well, you know what I mean, with a camera, and you know what I mean. I've points things out now. Then she's very good, bless her, at doing that. This video here is just over 5 minutes long. And the video should read, and it's just gone up actually. I think it's just a matter of hours. Is that the one that's a matter of hours, or is it the other one? Oh, I'm trying to remember that. Anyway, I know the first one that I was talking about, that's about 18 hours ago now. So I think this one's very, very recent, okay? Only a matter of, hours or a couple of days to me. Feeding time inside the migrant centre. Okay, Mads, Lishtuk baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you. Feeding time inside the migrant centre. So she goes, and there's other cameras and everything, and she goes in and she sees that all of these paper bags. And when she looks in, I think it looks like orange, banana. I think there's crisps. Okay, and they're all lined up, these for these. The more and more you look at it, it's looking like there we are an army situation. Like that's what you do with an army, isn't it? So you know what I mean. You give them these, these packets, and like if they're going to take their food with them or something. It just look. When I took a look at it, number one, you could say that. Number two, you could say it's a bit like being at school, isn't it? You got all of these paper bags, carrier bags, okay, with a bit of fruit and a bit of this and a bit of that in it. Do you see what I mean? It's like it's very controlled, isn't it? Okay, it's just interesting. They're just very interesting. But like I said this before, but the other thing is as well is that they were covering the birth traces, the faces. So all she was saying was, bless her, well, why are you hiding your face? I'm just not getting the part where why they're hiding the birth traces, that's all. But like I said before, for themselves too, they've found themselves in situations, like I said, for most of them, they just want to get their head down, go and get a job, earn some ka-ching, some change. Okay, that's simple thing, that's what they want to do. There we are, that's all that they want to do. But you'll have a small amount who, let's just say, you know what I mean, they're not very nice characters. Just as I'm saying, but of course, like I said, it's important these tiny little videos as well. But when you look at them, there we are. They've been used as well. It's just that when I first looked at that, I just thought, just always just something like an army. So it's like all very controlled, isn't it? Like you've all got, you know what I mean, the same. Well, I don't know. I suppose unless we looked in every single bag, there might be somewhere they don't like an orange, or they don't like a banana, or they don't like that flavour crisp. You know what I mean? What dear Yorkshire Rose was saying, bless her, not in that way, not in that way, is that the homeless around the corner from where they were, filming. You know what I mean? She said they would like, so can we have some of those, for our homeless, bless them, who are on the streets. But this is what I'm saying. This is the anger that ones feel. But ones have to look at why this is all came about. There we are in the first place. Why it has came about. Sorry, in the first place. Okay, and we also have to look at there we are. Who causes the damn problems? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so that, there's a lot more, I feel, too, there we are, all of this, but it's just winding, and it has been a long time, it's just winding ones up. Do you know, windy, 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 do you see what I mean, yes? And then, of course, have you ever seen it? You wind something up that much, sometimes the spring can go bing, like that. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? Because ones are obviously feeling, oh, it's their tax ka-ching that's paying for it. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we could talk about the tax business. Anyway, there we are. I could say a lot about that anyway. But for a start off, it's voluntary anyway. But when you work for an employer and they automatically take it out, well, really, they do not have any right to do that. Anyway, this is a different matter to do with, there we are, to do with tax, Mads, okay? But we've all had it done to us. Oh, they take out your employer, they take out your national insurance, they take out your tax. Well, who's asked them to do that? You worked all damn month or you work week by week for that, for somebody to come and take your ka-ching change that they're not even entitled to. Like I said, I could talk a long time about this. Okay? You realise that you've been skanked again, man. It just goes on and on. Do you know what I mean? Every effing day, week, month, year. It's just a scam after a scam after a scam. That is what this is, Mardelishtuk babies. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes. Anyway, so finally, Mardelishtuk babies, I'm not shouting at you. You know, I never do it. It just gets me really vexed and angry, that's all. The final one that I want to mention today, Mardelishtuk babies, this was actually uploaded 14 years ago. Okay, year ago. And happens to have 381,000 subscribers. I'm not talking to any of our Delishtuk babies who have already watched this video. I'm sure I'm talking to our Delishtuk babies who may not have watched it. Okay. And the uploader is called capital N for November, nuclear. Okay. Then a space, capital V, volt. This rings a bell, you know. As if I've, it could have been long time back when I've advertised these once, maybe. I feel as though I don't know, it rings a bell to me anyway, my Delishtuk babies anyway. But like I say, with all of these, I mean, Yorkshire Rose, every now and again, bless her, I will, you know, drop her channel in, her name in, okay? But she just goes round, she's very interesting, but I'm glad to see that her numbers have really gone up anyway, bless her, yeah. But this one here, my delicious babies, this is nearly an hour long, this final video. And the video should read, Mission Mind Control, in brackets, 1979. Okay, I'll repeat this again. Mission Mind Control, in brackets, 1979. Did you see how I said 9 and 9? Okay, my delicious babies, so, and that's not coding. But the point is here, so I'm about halfway through this at the moment. It's just so fascinating how they, you know, and I've only looked at 2 or 3 of the comments. That's also very fascinating. But the point is, my delicious babies, is that it does go to show you the level of brainwashing. So I'm up to the part where somebody took his life, this man. Okay, so I'm up to that part at the moment, my delicious babies, okay, but I am going to listen to the rest of it, okay? So while I'm doing, you know, my cleaning and other things, there we are, I shall be listening to it, okay? But what's the point I'm making here? The point is again, we have been brainwashed, each and every one of us, my delicious, but we've all gone through it at some time, my delicious babies, where you know what I mean? We've all been, you know, I don't like this word, but sometimes you have to use it. We've all been fooled, there we are, at some time, because the ones I'm going to close my book, we need to go backwards, because, you know, if we really look at what's being done to us, there's some comments in there as well, you know, to do so many years back, yes. Yes, one of the biggest scams, wasn't it, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Ka-ching! For we know who, to whom it may concern, my delicious babies and little lackeys, you know what I mean? So, but we've all gone through it, haven't we? Where, you know, you pay these bills, you pay everything, so you work all week, you work all month, you know what I mean? Then you've got to pay this, then you've got to pay that. So come in one hand, leave the other hand. Do you see what I mean? Okay, then you look at your change, ding, 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 what have I got left? Hardly jack shot. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? Because this is the level of programming, there we are, that they wanted you at, that they wanted all of us at. But what they are not liking is when you're undoing, there we are, the programming. So you are, there we are, deprogramming. And as I've said before, my delicious little babies, this can be very uncomfortable. Most, there we are, uncomfortable indeed. To find that You've spent all these years, all of these months, all of these whatever o'clock, going by the book, whatever anybody's definition of normal is, martylish little babies, paying your bills just like a good un. It's just like with the bins, as an example. So I'm giving you an example. So bin day here is on a Thursday. So I like to put my bin out on a Thursday morning. But for most, they will put the bin out on the Wednesday night, on the Wednesday evening. So if you look at it, it is a program, isn't it? It's like Simon says, stand up, sit down, twirl around. It's like that, my delicious babies. I've talked about this, whatever o'clock there we are anyway, for many years. Do you see what I mean? But it's even worse still when you know what's been done to you for all those years, but there could be one reason or another why you're still paying the bill, you're still doing this, okay, until you psych yourself up and then you just say no, 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 no. You know, then you have to, there we are, drop the fear, drop the, do you see what I'm saying, okay? But of course, you know, they send the letters out, they do this, they do that, you know, then you know, but of course, the ones, even if you talk to on customer services, if you get to actually speak to mankind these days, because usually it's a flipping robot talking at the other end, the point of the matter is, Mads, it's just a baby, so you do get to speak. So, well, bless them, not in that way, not in that way. They're just as brainwashed. So this is what I'm saying, Mads, babies. I know what I'm saying. But when you start to undo everything, it can be, there we are, very uncomfortable. But it's also very true that when you talk to many, they will then turn around and say, you know, well, there's nothing we can do. Well, there is something that we can do if we just stand there and we just, there we are, simple thing, say no. That is it, just say no. Put your foot down. That's the old fashioned saying. No, I'm not saying in literature, you know what I mean? It's a figure of speech. You put your foot down, you say no. So where could any of them, there we are, go with this? Where is there to go if too many, there we are, say no? You see what I'm saying, yes? But they also know that they're losing the, you know, like where ones would just believe every single thing, okay? They know that they're starting to, there we are, that they're starting to lose it. There we are. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, and they know this, there we are. Because nobody believes, for most, they do not believe anything. And the Prince, Prince Carnegie, who I mentioned before, Mad Little Babies, one of his videos came up today on my, you know, on my notifications, and he's just showing just a couple of minutes. What's he at? 19.6 thousand Mad Delicious Little Baby subscribers. He's just put a little video up. It's not even 2 minutes long. It's showing to do with the case of Lindsay Clancy, you know, the case that's going on in America at the moment, Mad Delicious Little Babies. I don't know, may be interesting for you to just take a little look, Mad Delicious Little Babies, at that tiny, shorty video. You know what I mean? Okay, Mad Delicious, it's all right, I was just pulling at my fingers. It's unusual, actually. It's something that I do not normally do. Anyway, Mad Delicious Babies, so that's all of the videos, okay? So, and sorry, what was that, Lindsay Clancy? I don't know, please do not quote me. Was she a nurse or something? I don't know, I suppose, like I said, I haven't even looked properly into this, okay? But it's just something that, you know, Prince Carnegie, that he put up. It's just, you know what I mean? Anyway, my delicious babies, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one laugh, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected, and how I love you all so. You are super duper wonderful, super duper delicious, and I'll love you. Okay, my delicious babies, my little honey bunnies, okay, that you all are. But yes, if you know, be very careful with the thunder and lightning, because like I said, there's not a lot that really phases me, but it does with the lightning. And when it actually came in, I was like, do you know what I mean? I was really horrified. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, that it could actually go right through the window. You see what I mean? Anyway, my stick babies, you know what I mean? They know where they are, they want it to go. Okay, my stick babies, we've seen many things, haven't we, with the weather? Okay, over these decades, my stick babies, and they certainly know where to blow that wind. You know what I mean, my stick babies? So, till the next video, so very much love. Thank you for any views, for any likes, for the occasional comments, how I love you also. Okay? So, and please take care of yourselves now, and please try to take care of others, and please continue to feel the love. Just going to have the rest of my, I'm trying to get everybody else to try it. Some do, they try it and they say, oh, that's a lovely drink. But for others, you know, it just depends how healthy they are. For some, they just don't like healthy drinks, do they? Delicious babies, you know what I mean? For some, I don't know. I mean, if you look at these Red Bulls, if you look at these monsters, you know, they flipping sound like hotcakes, don't they, man? Delicious babies. You know, it's like if you could have 24 bottles of Coca-Cola, you know, Coca-Cola, you know, in the shop, man, delicious babies, you guarantee that'll go before the flipping water goes. You know what I mean, man? Delicious babies, yes. Anyway, big business, ka-ching, isn't it? Huh? Anyway, lots of love. Take care. Thank you once again for listening. Have a beautiful time wherever you are. I hope the weather's beautiful. If it's not, we're still alive. We're still alive, okay? We shall just go with the flow, okay? Whatever they want to throw at us, that's fine. That's fine. As long as we stick together, okay? You know, I do not incite anything. We stick together. We try our best, our utmost, to find something to be happy about each day. Okay, my delicious babies, we must not let these get the better of us. It can be stressful sometimes, it can be irritating sometimes, but we've got to try and find something to laugh about each and every day. Okay, and that's the best advice that I can give to end my video. Okay, my delicious babies, take care, love you, thank you, goodbye.